welcoming everyone to our podcast, The Therapy Diaries. Today, I'm thrilled to have with us Ms. Farhat Gupta. Farhat Gupta is a seasoned therapist with deep expertise in psychology and behavioral science, bringing a wealth of experience from counseling over 800 clients across the globe. Her approach is deeply rooted in understanding behavioral psychology, emotional conflicts, and behavioral monitoring, drawn from years of research and hands on practice. Driven by an innate passion to uplift the human spirit, her primary focus is to help individuals connect with their inner selves. She believes that the true healing and personal growth comes from within, and she is dedicated to guiding her clients on this journey of self discovery and empowerment. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ashna, and thank you for having me on your show. I think which is one of the most significant contribution that you're making in the space of mental health. So thank you.
So, today I would like to talk about the evolution of relationships. So, tell us what psychological factors drive the initial attraction between two people.
So I think it's a very intuitive process, and it's very complex as well. It's conscious and unconscious, factors that contribute to the initial attraction. Physical appearances definitely matters in the initial stages. Also, your whole experience with that person, how well that person makes you feel validated about yourself. The similarities in value system also contribute to your initial attraction journey. And then at the psychological level, I think the most important part that really inspires a relationship is the fact that how well the person feels self validated in the company of the other person, and how comfortable that person makes them feel about themselves, and how are the shared value system exchanged. So
Yeah, because I think we all come with a certain set of beliefs, core beliefs, and what we've learned from childhood to adulthood. And I think when you judge somebody newly, when you meet somebody newly, I think all that judgment comes from all your core beliefs and systems that you've been brought up in. So, do you think that plays a major role, or do you think just the initial attraction is based on appearances?
So it is certainly not only physical. A lot of value systems are brought into the dynamics when you meet a person. Also, I said that how you feel validated in the presence of someone plays a huge role into you being attracted. We are so there's a contrast basically. The value systems, the similarity of the value system, and the opposite of our trait is kind of a huge attraction. So the when we complement each other in traits and in our skills, that becomes the point of attraction between the two person. No two very similar person will be attracted to each other. There has to be a difference. The difference is not in the value system, but the differences is in the skill and in the personality trait of that person. So for example, you find some one partner is extremely very social, and the other partner is not as social. They or they are more introvert, they like their own me time. So this is nature's way of balancing the whole institution of togetherness, where the complementing traits of each other kind of bring in a lot of value to the relationship.
Wow. So tell us, how do attachment styles influence who we are drawn to and our early relationship behaviors?
So attachment has a significant impact on the relationship, in the sense that our attachment style truly define whom we are attracted to and how we behave in the relationship. So, for example, a secure attachment style person will definitely look out for a secure partner, but an anxious style attachment style person will eventually get hooked on to an avoidant style, because it kind of reinforces their childhood experiences where their primary caretakers were unavailable for them. So that is kind of a reinforcement. So they feel okay, this is true love, because
That is comfort for them. So they
that is
relate to
comfort.
it.
Yeah, they relate to it. They subconsciously feel okay, this is love, because they are so used to of emotional unavailability that they think that the avoidance style is true love, and that's what they are drawn to. So definitely it plays a huge role in how couples behave with each other.
So do you think all attachment styles come from our childhood?
Of course. Attachment style, and the fact that it is called attachment style, it is because how we attach to our primary caregivers in our childhood, and because that's your first experience of a fulfilling or an unfulfilled relationship experience that we have in our lifetime, and subconsciously we carry that. The beauty of human being is that we have the capacity to change, but we can change only when we know that we have this particular attachment style. We have the capacity to differentiate that, when is our love at play and when is our attachment style at play, and that sense of awareness is key for you to bring about a shift in your attachment style to a more secure attachment style.
Interesting. What role do factors like proximity, similarity, and reciprocity play in attraction?
So proximity is very important because it kind of brings about connectedness into two people. If they are in close proximity of each other, they meet more often, so they create shared experiences more. And hence, I'm not a big fan of long distance relationship because proximity is very key to building a foundational relationship.
Correct.
So when people are in close proximity, there is a lot of connectedness, there is a lot of shared experiences, there is a lot of first hand information each one exchange. Second, you said was similarity. Similarity is again very important to building a good foundational of a relationship, because similarity makes relationship very easy.
Yeah, it brings like it makes it like I can relate to it.
Yeah, you can relate to it. It makes it effortless. It just kind of gets you into the flow state,
Yeah, easy to
where
slip.
yeah, easy to slip in. There is some part of the relationship at least becomes effortless. So I think similarity in value system here then becomes a key to having a healthy relationship. And then next you said was reciprocity. It's very important because that is key for you to being feeling validated by your partner.
You have to
Yeah,
be wanted.
yeah, you
And
have to
sometimes
be.
you want the other person.
Absolutely, and this is where the it is very important that each partner reciprocate, the love and the care and the concern and respect for each other. So it is very all these three things are fundamental to having a healthy relationship.
But many times I've seen, especially in college days and when we were much younger, that a lot of women were attracted to men who did not have the reciprocal behavior. Why is that?
It's coming down to the attachment styles.
So then that becomes more important.
Yeah, so that becomes more important. They are not aware, they're not in the state of awareness. It's not their love that has kicked in when they see this person, it is the attachment style that has kicked in, and they misunderstand that to love and security. So that's I think a space of gap where they are drawn towards from the instinct of an attachment style rather than love and security.
And how do cultural and social influences shape our partner preferences?
Oh, huge. it's it's really wonderful to see how human beings from different culture relate differently in a relationship. So cultural and societal expectations have a huge impact on the expectations we have from a relationship.
Correct.
You see,
Yeah.
so if we, for example, if some culture, let me give you an example. In some cultures, women bringing in financial support into the family is a norm.
Yeah, I think in the Southeast Asia, women are the breadwinners.
Yeah, they are the breadwinner. It is a norm, and it is a given thing. Rather, if this aspect is not available in the relationship, it is not considered complete. But in certain cultures, women bringing in any financial help is a huge taboo.
Yeah,
it
it's looked down upon.
it's looked down upon. It is looked down upon a man as his inability to provide for his to his family and the woman that he has got engaged with or is in a relationship or is in a marital status. So it's different, so if you bring a woman who comes from this conditioning that okay, man has to be a provider, and then she's into the setting where she's thrown into a space where she is supposed to fend for herself and bring in financial help to the family, it can get extremely overwhelming for her.
Yeah.
And contrast, if you have a woman who is really used to her financial independence, and if she's got into a household where they say, okay, no, now you will be taken care of, and she may find that very suffocating.
Yeah, I think those relationships will be very challenging. So you're right, like these influence our partner preferences because it's easy, like you said, familiarity is everything. Correct. So the culture you're familiar with or the social status you're familiar with makes it easier to slip into that relationship.
Yeah, in fact, it builds a lot of your own belief system. So
It's
yes,
reinforcement.
yeah, it is reinforcement. It is a belief system. It is a value system that you have been raised with, and then suddenly in your relationship, it's a conflicting value system, a conflicting belief system. It can really, ruin a relationship.
So let's talk about building and maintaining relationships. Now that we spoke about point of attraction and starting a relationship, how does one maintain it? Can you tell us how do successful couples transition from romantic attraction to deeper attachment?
I think one of the key factor into transiting into a deeper, emotional bonding is your innate commitment. You have to have that deep seated value system where you are committed to making the relationship work. You are prioritizing the relationship. You are prioritizing your partner, and you're not seeking any shortcuts to to quitting the relationship. I think that not to quit mindset is very fundamental to you transiting from an initial attraction stage to a very deeper meaningful relationship, because relationship is going to challenge you. It is going to test your resilience. So a lot of resilience is going to be tested here. A lot of your own patience will be tested here. So I honestly feel that a relationship is a beautiful opportunity for every human being to become a better version of themselves, because it is going to challenge you in the ways you have never ever imagined. And quitting is not an option. Only evolving to meet the needs of the relationship, to meet the need of your own your own personal goals and the goals of the partner, is fundamental to that transition. Respect plays a huge role in this. Giving space to each other uh, plays a fundamental role.
You're right. Actually, I think respect is one of the biggest factors. I think in any relationship, be it with your parents, be it with your children. So when it is a partner, it is the most important relationship of our life. It's there from your adulthood to the end, hopefully. So I think if that is the key, then I think that really makes the huge difference from romantic to a successful relationship, marriage, or whatever you may call it.
Correct, because respect being the fundamental, soil where trust is built. If
Yeah.
your respect is taken away from you, if you're belittled, then there is no trust. So trust is built on respect, you see. So once the respect is in place, then trust gets built up. When the trust is in place, then resilience becomes your second nature in the relationship, where you are willing to accept each other's vulnerability, weaknesses, frustrations. And I think the most key to having any mature relationship is giving allowance to each other's vulnerability, without judgment. We all are human beings, and we make mistakes. We make big mistakes. Okay. The space, every deep relationship must create space where the partner's vulnerability is accepted. There is a huge space for forgiveness. There is a huge space for letting go. There's a huge space wherein a partner is uh, allowed to show his frustration or her frustration in the marriage, because the outside world is going to challenge you. You see, you are going to be challenged by outside. You will be rejected by the world. When you come home, some allowances should be allowed when the partner is frustrated, angry, or has made certain slips. Allowing that. No, that space where they can let be most vulnerable self, and they can I'm not reinforcing abuse here, please don't get me wrong. But what I'm trying to tell here is that a little bit of resilience and patience and space is where the transition from of early attraction to a meaningful relationship is going to happen.
And what strategies help partners navigate major life transitions together? So let's say they are in this permanent relationship where they've decided it's long term. How do they navigate the huge ups and downs that come in the way?
So I think when there is this huge life changing event that has happened in a couple's life, um, just being very empathetic towards each other is key. Because when there is a transition, It could be one person is going through the transition more than the other. It could be the couples have suffered a loss together, and they are going through this. I think just being very through your own pain, yet being empathetic towards the other person's pain and journey is very important, number
Because
one.
I think also everyone receives transition very
Differently,
differently.
yes,
Like,
absolutely.
for example, between me and my husband, when something bad happens or something wrong or something, not so good that happens, he receives it very differently to me. His process is very different to mine.
Correct.
Mine could be 2 days, his could be 7 days.
Correct.
Mine could be like, I get over it, I vent it out. His could be he processes it for a long time, he suppresses it. I'm
Correct.
just giving an example.
Yes, yes.
So I think, like you said, two people process things very differently. So I mean, to strategize to manage all your different ups and downs together, can you tell our listeners two basic strategies to have that can really help them?
I think one is giving each other enough space, you see, and secondly, treating every transition as a huge opportunity to redefine the relationship into a more matured relationship. I think every transition has come into the relationship. I always see it as a huge opportunity for the couples to come together, and through the transition, if the couples do come together, it is a huge investment in the relationship. That relationship is for keeps, because in your lows you will always go back to the those transition moment where you had your partner having your back. So having each other's back in those moments, I think is significant to going through the transition, any form of transition. And I think the third most important thing we must not forget is through the transition, aiming for personal growth.
So let's say two people are very well balanced and they have a very good relationship going. What are the external stressors that impact a relationship?
Oh, there are many. There could be, external stressors, could be your extended family, it could be your children, it could be your work, it could be sudden financial losses that, it could be your social expectations that couples carry with them, as a couple together. It could be any one of these, that do have an impact and may cause friction and frustration between the partners, because if both of them are seeing the similar stressors in a very from a different space, then it becomes more challenging. And like I said, empathy again comes into play. Understanding that each one can have their own viewpoint, and yet that doesn't mean that you kind of have to compromise on your value system or your viewpoints, but just kind of giving each other space. I recommend like anywhere between 12 hours to 48 hours of conflict resolution, where you can come back revisiting.
Very interesting. I've never had anyone count children as stress factors, although I do believe myself that it can, alter a relationship, be a stress factor. Can you give us an example of how children change a relationship and how they can be a stress factor to a relationship?
I think when a woman goes through, mm, when children come in, I'm talking from the from the stage of conception. You A female's body goes through a huge hormonal change. Okay, there's a huge burden that she carries on her physically anyway, and because of her biochemistry changing so much, her moods are going to be impacted in a similar way. She is already burdened physically. Her sexual needs alter. Now this is just the beginning of the introduction of, yeah, of the transition of the stress. uh, a man perhaps has his sexual needs very much in place, but women is now going through a transitory phase. She is not able to match with that. So that is just the beginning of, of the friction of unmet expectation, let me put, yeah, they are unmet expectation. And then the child comes in. Now the child comes in, the focus is shifted from the partner to the child.
Yeah, huge stress.
Huge stress. Now it may not be stress initially, it may just be that you're focusing on the child, but what has happened is that you have somewhere forgotten your partner, you see.
Yeah.
And uh, that can kind of create a vacuum in the relationship. you know. And hence the first 3 4 years where the child is in the infancy stage, and when the woman is too preoccupied, I always recommend that the fathers do play a critical role in parenting, so at least both of you are on the same page, and sharing the responsibility and the load, so that the father is equally invested in the journey, and he is not treating it as a journey of a woman. Okay, all the women get pregnant, this is very cultural thing in India, so what, I mean, everyone has a baby, all women go through the pregnancy, so what is so new about you? And it's not my and why are responsibility you taking it so yeah seriously and why in is it such a big way? Yeah, why is it so much drama around it? No, there is no drama around it, I'm sorry, there is no drama, but there is a special attention that needs to be paid to that journey, and that must come from a man, you see. And so these are it's not stress, it is just your focus has shifted. And now if you have suddenly just forgotten completely about the relationship, so now the stress starts to build in, because you see a lot of in a lot of culture, the parents are so invested in the kids that they have forgotten that they are partners themselves. First, and when the children leave, they absolutely have grown apart so much, unfortunately, that they have nothing left in common. And I think that's a big you just say fallout in mature relationship, where the couple suddenly realize that they have not much left in common if they haven't stayed connected through the child rearing age.
I was reading a very interesting article by one of the top psychologists from England, and he said, if you have more children, your chances of divorce are higher. And the more children you have, and the later you have them, even higher chance of divorce. What do you think about that?
I think by when he says the later you have is because as we grow into our different stages of our life in terms of timeline, our hormones are speaking a different language. We are almost questioning, we have existential questions at different stages. Yeah. So later on in life we have more such existential question. So now with that existential question, you have a child that is now becomes your responsibility, and the crisis of the marriage, because you have now grown apart. So in that sense, that's when he says your physically your energies are low. Yeah. Your hormones are as you grow older, your energies are low. You are anyway struggling to match that energy with the child, with the energy of the child. So in that sense, I would reckon that it is better for the couples to marry young and have children young, so that their biology is supporting and their energy levels are supporting the entire family as an institution. Yes.
So now that we have covered initial attraction, moving on to a serious relationship, and then the stress factors, how we cope with them. So tell us, how does this sexual journey evolve throughout this relationship's life cycle?
I think initially, definitely, we are drawn by physical appearance. The attraction is huge. In fact, I read a very interesting research which said that for the age group of 18 to 25, their fundamental, what you say, reason to stay in a relationship was sex. This sexual satisfaction. So, sexual satisfaction for young adults between 18 and 25 is very significant. I think over the period of time, you kind of settle into a pattern, into a rhythm, where we kind of understand each other's, pattern
Needs.
and style and needs, and then we try to match with each other's needs. A very important factor here is that the couple must be aligned to each other's sexual needs. The problem may arise when one partner has a huge need for for sex, and the other partner is not yet there. So and we cannot define who's right and who's wrong, and there is nothing it is just about individual needs. It is the responsibility of each partner to walk that extra mile, both of them, to meet somewhere midway.
You have to
And
indulge each
yeah,
other in the
you
right
have
way.
to indulge each other. And I honestly feel that sex begins much before we enter the bedroom and the couple are on the bed. Sex is an underlying current, I think, throughout the day when you are, when you are dealing with your partner. It's just not the very act of sex in the bed. It begins in the living room, it begins in the kitchen, it begins when your partner just walks into the house, from work. It begins when you are at a social gathering. It's the energy you have for it's each the other. Energy, it's the chemistry, it's that the look in each other's eye. It's just that your appreciation towards each other, I think, is singularly very important to have a good sex life, that you find each other attractive, and each individual partner takes responsibility of looking after their physical appearance, their grooming, their mental health issues, their physical, because sex cannot happen if you're not right in your head. It cannot happen if your body is not fit, if you're having a disease, or if you're ill. You're not going to think about sex,
Yeah,
right?
correct.
So it's your individual responsibility to have have an upkeep of your own physiology, and mental health issues, and and emotions. And then I think then the whole journey becomes quite a flow state. I think it's very divine, it's very very spiritual. It's nothing to do with words, it's the engagement of the body, it's how the energies are coming together. So I think sex is not on the bed, it starts.
I think it is the core of the relationship. How you really feel for each other. How you
Exactly.
feel for each other.
Yeah.
And I think if that is missing, then this will obviously be missing in some way. It won't be deep
Absolutely,
meaning.
it won't be deep meaning. And any relationship, a huge red flag is when couple stop engaging in physical intimacy. So it's almost reaching a dead end. So I think you have to be mindful. It is not the most important thing in the marriage, but yes, it is important. It is an important aspect to keep the marriage alive.
Yeah, I think we have so many organs in our body, and I think we need each one for a function.
Yeah.
I think same way,
Yeah.
physical intimacy is like one of those organs for the marriage to
Yeah,
work. You know,
absolutely.
without one organ,
Correct.
the body fails.
Yeah.
Same like that. I
Same.
think this is one of the key ingredients, and without that ingredient, the rest of the relationship also won't work.
Absolutely.
Good example. So tell us, what impact do life changes like aging, health, children, huge families? How do these factors affect sexual intimacy of a couple?
Yeah, so each factor will have a different impact on the sexual pattern of individuals in a relationship. Aging, if you have to begin with aging is where your hormones are taking a dip. So you're not excited. So the excitement is, there is a downhill curve in the excitement where as you age. And yet, knowing that being sexual does not mean going into a full blown, act of sex. It could be your intimate moments, and I think aging couples should never underestimate that aspect of their relationship, where intimacy is not the slave of hormones. Perhaps you see, sex is, and intimacy, in fact, has a huge impact on building more intimate and strong relationship. With regards to health, if a person is genuinely having a health concern, if one partner, it's now the onus on the other partner to show patience and resilience, to understand that it is not an intentional problem. It is something that is beyond the control of anyone. Nobody, it's circumstantial. It is, nobody likes to be sick, and the patience and resilience. So like I said, relationship is going to test you. These are your testing moments, and this is where you need to prove that you are for the relationship, for the partner, despite the challenges that life has to throw on you. Coming to children, children and family, extended family has they kind of interfere in the normal good spark of a relationship, a sexual relationship. When I say that, is there is a lot of intrusion that's happening, you see. Children are an intrusion, because of course they demand attention, and a lot of couple are willing to do that with extended family. And here is where the cultural biases and prejudice sets in, where our culture does not promote that a man and a woman can be holding hands in a family setting. That's such a shame. But it's the truth, and we still need to respect that because we are a part of that culture. And we but having said that, the couple must then very very actively remove time, from away from the family, away from the children, and create that space and time they can park themselves on a holiday, or they can very in a very meticulous way plan it, their time out even in the family setting. It is the truth that family, extended family, can interfere in our sexual uh, sexual relationship, sexual life. And
It can influence, I guess.
it influences because we get conscious, and we are conditioned to conform.
Also, I think we forget, ultimately, I think as we age, our children will go away for education or for work or for whatever reason. Everyone grows and starts their own life or get married and start their own family. Our parents by then probably won't exist. They will probably pass on. So then who is left with you? Your partner. But I think people don't put enough, time. They don't put enough effort into thinking this is who is with me for the rest of my life.
Yeah, correct.
Everybody else will come and go.
Yeah.
Parents come and go. I mean, they're
Correct.
there, they're not there. Your
Correct.
children are there full time, they're responsible, then they go away.
Correct.
But that partner is going to be consistent till the end. But I think we
Absolutely.
don't give that kind of preference to that relationship.
I think we haven't, we have taken relationships for granted. We haven't given it the due respect. It demands a huge respect, and that respect should go beyond me and I to we and us, and that is the transition from a romantic relationship into a deeper relationship. The transition from I to us, I to we, and the focus then becomes we, and we is a team. It is not you against me, and there is no competition. There's only complementing each other. I think that sense of awareness is hugely missing, and it's not been given enough significance in our society. Earlier on, it used to be different because people were living in a joint family.
Yeah.
So the entire family was an ecosystem.
Correct.
Now it's not that. Now your only ecosystem is potentially your partner. So and your children, and children, like you said, are going to go away someday. Parents are going to go away, and then what you will be left with is your partner. And I a very profound statement my own mother-in-law made, and it just dropped in as a thought now. Is that she said that only your partner will be there to put Ganga Jal in your mouth. And I think that is so profound. She said we will all go, and she's my mother-in-law. Imagine how evolved she is to tell her daughter-in-law this. She said nothing is as important as your partnership with your partner, because ultimately he or she will be the last person who will put that in your mouth. And perhaps and that's such a profound thought. So yes, it is. Partners are important, and it's worth investing in your relationship.
Now, can we discuss the flip side of relationships? Abuse and toxicity. So tell us, what are the early warning signs? What should women or men look for in a marriage to understand? They may not have the understanding, they may not be aware. But can you tell us some red flags that are very common to know that you're not in a great relationship?
I think the very initially, you will understand that there is a lot of manipulation that's happening in the relationship. There is a lot of emotional manipulation happening. There's a lot of financial manipulation happening. There's a lot of social manipulation that's happening in the relationship. There is a lot of control. You see, when you see a lot of control being, enforced in a relationship, and in a very subtle way, that's a red flag that this relationship is a toxic and an abusive relationship. When boundaries are not respected, when there is no respect in the marriage from day one. I think it's really it's not worth investing in a relationship like that. It is when I think when the other person is gaslighting you, belittling you. I think belittling is really the early warning sign. If you are in a relationship and you are being belittled, walk out. It's not getting any better, because the belittling is strategically placed there to gain control on you.
Correct. Make you think you're lesser than what I expected you to be. Hence, you're not good enough for me.
Correct.
Now, hence, I get to tell you what to do.
Absolutely.
Right?
And that's huge power control that that person is trying to have on you. I'm not here telling, I'm not judging any other person that they have bad mal intention, the person who's doing this. It's just that they are doing it out of their own insecurities in life,
All their own traumas that they keep
yeah,
coming
they are,
from.
and they are not aware. But and it's their journey, and it's not that they are a bad human being. I don't think so anyone is a bad human being. It's just that circumstances have shaped their belief system, and now it's their journey. But that does not mean that you take the ownership of their journey and you accept that as a part of your, life, or your purpose to fix them.
I think this term toxic environment is used very loosely. I think people, you know how depression is the word. People just say, "Oh, I was
Yeah.
so depressed, I couldn't get up," but people don't understand it's
Yeah.
a medical term. Same way, I think people use the word toxicity very casually. I don't think it should be used casually because psychologically it's a heavy term.
Correct.
Can you tell us what is the baseline of a toxic relationship?
I think any kind of an abuse is a baseline of toxic relationship. It could be physical abuse where you're being physically beaten up. It could be emotional abuse where emotional unavailability is just a norm. It is a financial abuse where you are completely, a lot of women in India are completely under financial control of their partners. I think, and when they have given absolutely no freedom whatsoever, to make decisions. I think that's borderlining of toxicity. Uh, and of course, I think any relationship becomes toxic when a partner is not taking responsibility of their own physical health and mental health. For example, if one partner is alcoholic, it will, the relationship will become toxic. Why? Because the person has not taken responsibility of their habits. They have not taken responsibility of their physical well-being. They have not taken responsibility of their emotional well-being.
And what if they blame the partner for reaching this stage that I have become an alcoholic because I'm so unhappy and I'm miserable because of you? Like passive aggressive reinforcement that you're the reason.
uh, Nobody is the reason for anyone. I think each one of us are capable of making decisions and choices on our own accord. So a person who's the victim must not take this as the ultimate verdict and the truth. It is far from truth. It is their choice. If it's a choice that they have made, it is their responsibility, and it is not for you to fix them. You see, you can support them but you can't fix them. And even through your support, if your partner is not evolving to become more responsible into the relationship, and he is not or she is not contributing to the relationship, I don't think so it's worth investing your time and effort in the
Yeah, but
relationship.
it will ultimately lead to toxicity.
It will. You will not survive. I mean, I don't think so. It survive. Eventually, it will break. I mean, you'll waste 10 years of your life and you'll walk out. And
Yeah.
I'm saying that why would you want to waste that 10 years? Why do you want to, have that impact? Bring in children into the scene. When these are the warning sign. Any kind of manipulation, any kind of belittling, any kind of verbal and physical abuse. And I earlier spoke about giving allowances in the marriage. Yes, you do give allowances. Yes, when a person is angry, perhaps they have stepped the boundary and they have become abusive in that moment. So how do you then draw a thin line between, okay, should I, is this now become toxic?
No, but I think forgiveness happens once or twice. It can't be a pattern. Then it's not forgiveness, then it's your pattern of taking that abuse.
Correct. It is, and it is how the person is taking responsibility of that behavior. That also define whether the relationship is toxic or it is just the allowance of space. So that you have to be mindful of. You can't even potentially turn every conflict and every argument into toxicity. And everything can't turn into a red flag, and everything. I mean,
No extreme way.
there's no extreme way. There is no perfect marriage. There is no perfect relationship. There are no perfect human beings. Marriages will have conflict. It is, in fact, only The best of the marriages are the marriages that have evolved from conflict.
I
If
agree. I couldn't agree more.
yeah, if a marriage is having no conflict, I'm worried.
Both are looking elsewhere, maybe.
Yeah, there is a lot of silence in the marriage. No, they should not be silent.
Yeah, any two people who are silent in any relationship, even if it's friendship or even if it's parent and child, if there's silence, means there isn't much happening.
Yeah, there is not much happening. Nobody is invested. So no, I think conflict is a part and parcel of every relationship. How you grow from that conflict is really going to define where your relationship will transit into.
So let's say someone has walked away from abuse, someone has walked away from a very toxic partner. How does that affect their attachment and future relationships? Do they come to you with, let's say, a broken mind, a broken heart, a broken personality, or do you feel it's momentary?
Uh, it is not momentary. It has a huge impact on the human psyche. Now, it all depends how deep the relationship has been, how attached you are to that person, how resilient you are as a person.
So I'll give an example. Let's have somebody who was married for 10 years, was in a toxic relationship, was abused by the partner, has finally gathered the courage to walk away. Because it's also, I think people get used to,
Correct.
or they don't have any other way. This is their security. They're insecure without this relationship.
Correct.
Finally, this person has walked away. How do you think it will affect this person's future relationships and their strength to handle life?
So a lot of factors will contribute to them overcoming this loss. One is, like I said, resilience. If they are, they have that resilience quotient is high up to take on the life challenges. Second is that how autonomous they have been as individual throughout the journey, of their life. If they are more autonomous, then this separating from an abuse becomes a little easier than the person who's not an autonomous person, who's completely dependent. And thirdly, it is what kind of support system they have, family, friends, professional help, and how what you see hobbies they have picked up to kind of deal with this huge transition and trauma in their life. So these are the, I think, three more critical aspect where a person can walk away. They need time to heal. Healing will be influenced by all of these factors.
Will it affect their future relationships, or do you think they can actually have a clean slate and start afresh?
I think if so, that's the key. The key is if they have healed completely from a relationship. And when I said they would have, rather they must take professional help for this, because I have had these cases where people have come from a traumatic first marriages, and they have healed completely, and they have moved on beautifully into second marriages, and they are not even they're flourishing there, you see. So they can definitely move on, but the most critical aspect is that they heal from this first trauma, and they start trusting themselves first, because a lot of them has been taken away.
Yeah, correct.
You see,
Self-esteem is
yeah,
taken away,
the
self-worth is
confidence,
taken
yeah,
away.
self confidence is taken away. They start to question a lot of things. So rebuilding self is very important. So once the rebuilding has happened, moving on is absolutely, I think it's a pleasure. And I think everyone must give themselves a second chance if they have gone through a trauma. Why not? I mean, in fact, universe is always working to give you the very best experiences in your life, and you
It
must
gets better.
and you must allow that space for yourself. In fact, you must park that experience and allowance in your future life, and work towards that goal. So at least then it gives you a motivation to kind of just and perhaps once you are completely healed and evolved, you may just not find a need for another person in your life. You become so complete through that process, you see. So individual journey, but I think you can definitely move on and give yourself another chance.
So, what support systems are crucial for abuse survivors?
Friends, family, professional help, uh, personal interest, huge introspecting on what you truly want, introspecting on what you would have always wanted to do and you haven't done that. I think that's very critical. And having, like I said, a compassionate and empathetic support system from the family and friends is very critical to healing.
What about the abuse survivors who didn't know they were in an abusive relationship? Don't you think a professional view, going to a psychologist or a counselor, will finally give them perspective like so much was wrong with your life and you didn't even see it?
Absolutely. So, every person who's going through the abuse deep down knows it's not right. They know it.
But they don't accept it.
They are just not, they do not have the courage to stand up,
Walk away.
walk away, and because of the conditioning, we are conditioned into believing that this you have to tolerate, you have to bear, and you don't have a life beyond this. When the person has not enough confidence in themselves, they are not emotionally autonomous, resilient, they do not trust themselves and the attachment style. You see, all of this is contributing to them going through the trauma. And for example, in fact, there is some realities of life. I mean, financial what do you say,
Dependency.
ecosystem,
Yeah.
financial dependency, there are some real ground realities in life. And hence a lot of time you have seen a lot of partners holding on to the marriage till the children grow up, and then they said, this is it, our this is what I had established myself, and from here onward I'm no more responsible. Just a lot of people tend to do that. So I think it is pretty much important that you create that ecosystem. Even if a person is not able to walk out of any trauma and abuse, I reckon such people, and they could be having individual reason, they must seek professional help. It will instill a lot of confidence in them, and despite that, they realize, okay, they still choose. It's a choice.
Everything is a choice.
Everything is a choice. They still choose to live in an abusive relationship. Then I suggest that they still create an ecosystem that is parallel to the relationship that they are in, a ecosystem which allows them to go and heal. So they must create, if the abuse is your choice for whatever reason, and I respect everyone's choices, we are not here to judge anyone. What they must do is to create a parallel healing ecosystem for them.
Yeah.
So at least for them the survival then becomes easy, and personal growth must happen even through abuse, and it is possible.
So I think this has been a very, very insightful conversation. I would like to end on a personal question. Can you tell us one core factor that satisfies a relationship? What brings maximum satisfaction? That one factor.
I think your overall experiences uh, of a relationship is that one core factor. Your overview of your relationship is that core factor that defines how successful and satisfying your relationship. And that experiences is truly defined by another core thing, is that uh, how do you perceive, how do you think your partner is invested in the relationship and is satisfied in the relationship? So can you just imagine how intertwined this space is, that your perception about a satisfying relationship comes from the fact that how you see your partner being satisfied with you, and how you see him or her invested in the relationship. So if you feel somewhere that your partner is not satisfied in the relationship is going to collapse. If you feel your partner is not committed in the relationship, your relationship is going to collapse. And that's how intertwined this space is. And that's the whole beauty of this wonderful space uh, called marriage.
Amazing.
Thank you so much for having me on the show. It was a wonderful experience with you, and I think a very insightful chat that we had together.
It has been an absolute honor having you. This has been the Therapy Diaries. Take care of yourselves and each other.